Good evening and welcome to another episode of Confidence Culture Conversations. Kirubai, how are you?
Well, it was a beautiful day today, and we enjoyed the sun. I went out walking, I went and exercised. So I am happy that I got some vitamin D today.
You know what? It was some good vitamin D, although there was still some cold wind in the
Oh,
background.
yes. Unavoidable cold breeze going through. So I took my hoodie and I covered myself and I walked the park and yeah, it was good. It was good. I thank God that we had good weather. And the weather forecast for the next few days is supposed to be good.
Yay! But don't get my hopes up.
But you know what's the sad thing? It just plummets, the temperature in the nights.
Mm,
So that's and then you can't switch off your heating.
very true, very true. But you know what? We are not going to complain. We're going to be grateful for the weather because I think some people have it worse. So,
Yeah, we thank God because you know what? We still can go on uh, having the use of the electricity and gas. In some countries like South Africa, they have shared electricity and I don't think they use gas, but more so electricity. So they have times where they cut off, and they also have harsh weathers.
yeah, um, the reality of this life, right? This world, the
Yeah,
world that we live in. Yeah.
we thank
I
God.
remember growing up in Uganda, we had something called load shedding,
Yeah.
where you had a. In fact, we didn't even have a timetable, but every so often you knew that your electricity would be off.
Yeah.
So we got used to it. You can't go through the whole week with your electricity on.
Mm.
So actually, I give thanks to God for 24/7 electricity here.
I think it is the same concept. They call it load sharing.
Mm,
So it's sad, but you know what? You have to live, you have to adapt and live with what is available.
mm,
Yeah. And we thank God. We thank God. We thank God.
that's it.
I
That's it.
visited someone in the hospital yesterday.
Ooh.
So, talking about being grateful, so I went to Queen Elizabeth's Hospital in Greenwich. Oh, no, nearer to what is this place called? Woolwich and Bexley Heath.
Bexley Heath, yeah?
Yeah, Bexley Heath. That's right. So not Battle Heath, Bexley Heath. Yeah. So I went to visit a friend who had had a fall, and he was really well taken care of,
Mm,
and I really thank God that they were really serving him, and I even though he was a little bit of a grumpy guy, but I said, no, we have to be grateful. We have to be grateful. We have to be grateful because he got the best medical attention.
mm.
And, a lot of us complain about the NHS, but, the NHS, they still are serving the people. And we thank God for that.
We do. We do
Yeah.
indeed. We do indeed. I remember one of the times that I really like gave thanks for the NHS was when my nephew Shalom was in hospital. Because
Mm,
he was in hospital for a good couple of months, literally from mid June to end of October. And he was getting some expensive treatment because he was born premature. And if that was the case in Uganda, by the time he would have been coming out of hospital, we would have had a hefty bill, basically in millions to pay. So yeah, the things like the NHS that we very easily take for granted. Um, it almost feels like we're going into a session on gratitude, but do you know what? There is power. There is power in gratitude. There is power in
yeah.
just pausing and being grateful. And it's a great way to start your day, to end your day, to continue your day. Gratitude makes a difference. It really does. So, we are on episode 91 today. Episode 91. We're counting down to 100. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So I'm excited for what's ahead and excited for this journey that we are continuously on. You know, there was something I read today, I think something that John Maxwell posted, and it was just about like growth. And sometimes we want quick growth, we want microwave growth, but growth doesn't happen like, you know, like a microwave process. There is process, there is seed time and harvest.
Harvest, that's right.
So
Yes,
you
well
don't
said.
plant today and expect to get your harvest today. You gotta wait it out. So, Kirubai, what are we talking about today?
Oh, we are going to talk about another book, Becoming a Person of Influence. The last five sessions we did on realizing your dream,
Mhm.
putting your dream to test. And today we are doing another book called Becoming a Person of Influence. And
Yes.
it was written by John C. Maxwell with another guy called Jim Dornan.
Hmm.
So, and I think how to have positively impact, how to positively impact the lives of others. So we were talking just now about gratitude. And if we carry gratitude all the time in our thoughts and in our mouth, believing in our hearts and confessing with our mouths, we actually influence others.
That's it.
And influencing others is what we are going to talk about in a nutshell. We're going to explore two
Hmm.
different influences today. How a person of influence has integrity with people, and how a person of influence can nurture other people. Because there is a 10-part question to this whole becoming a person of influence. I know over this 90 episodes, we have always been speaking about confidence and influence in a different sort of way, always bringing, because our podcast is basically to influence the people around who are listening, right, Elizabeth?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I thought it'd be nice we unpack this book because there's a lot of nuggets in this book. So, to kickstart this, to become a person of influence, let me share this statement. Influence doesn't come to us instantaneously, it grows by stages.
Mm,
So, today we are talking, when Elizabeth shared about it's time to seed and the time to harvest. And if you think you are not influencing somebody else, but inevitably, we all are influencers.
mm,
And we're going to talk as we speak about this instantaneous influence. We do have instantaneous influence in our family or where we travel. We are influencing indirectly, directly. It is something that we might not consciously think about, but you know what? We are influencing someone else.
mm,
So everyone has influence, even a little child like Janaya. I had an amazing time on Saturday spending time with Janaya, and we she influenced me with a lot of her quirkiness, and it was fun spending the day, and it was a beautiful day. We had Janaya to entertain me and influence me. So I thank God for that. So everyone has an influence. Do babies influence us?
they do.
They do. They
They
do.
absolutely do. I would, do you know what? I just literally everyone has influence.
Mhm.
Everyone has influence, and it can be influence for good, influence for bad.
Yes.
But everyone has influence, and if influence is abused, or if we influence others negatively, then that influence, influence is like, can have a ripple effect. Going back to this ripple effect we talked about last week, like
Mhm.
influence can have a ripple effect, because if you influence, that they talk a lot about kindness, and being kind to others. And when you're kind to somebody, that encourages them to be kind to others, and then that encourages the other people to be kind to other people, and it can have that ripple effect. It's like, when people talk about paying it forward, like you go to a restaurant and you buy something, and after you've paid for whatever you're paying for, you're like, oh, can I pay for the person behind me, or can I pay for someone else, or that person sat on that random table, and obviously if you're that person sat on that random table, you're like, oh, someone paid for my meal, thank you. And that stirs up something on the inside of you, like, oh, I want to do it too, I want to pay for somebody's meal. So there is power, in influence. And I think one of the ways that John Maxwell describes leadership, he says leadership is influence. And so when we're talking about influence, you could say we're talking about leadership too. So that's I think that's something that we have to bear in mind as we go through this book, becoming a person of influence. It's really becoming a better leader.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really
that,
what
that
it is
sums up
about.
all. Yes, that's right.
Mm.
That's right. Becoming a better leader. Talking about paying for someone else, and they might not know. I've never done that before. I mean, if when I know someone, if they we pay for each other, but for a stranger, never. Should try it, Elizabeth.
No, do you know what? It's sometimes people do it because God has said do it, particularly those who are Christians. But sometimes people just do it just because they feel good.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember a
yeah.
friend of mine telling me that she was in a bar. Yeah, she was in a bar and she was just having a conversation with somebody. And she doesn't usually go out, but that day her friends were like, oh, let's go, let's go. And this place was the kind of place where you even have to put like I think you put a £50 down payment when you get there.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't necessarily just a bar that you go into and drink and that's it. But I think if I remember correctly, and I'm just gonna cut bits of the story, but she sat down and had a really lovely conversation, with this gentleman, and the conversation was so, like, it was so varied, it was so broad, but this gentleman, like, he was so encouraged by the conversation. He was so blessed by the conversation, to the point that he said, I want to give you some money. And she's like, no. He's like, no, like, I really want to. And this wasn't just £5, £10. This guy was like, send me your give me your details. And I think he wanted to send, I think it was like £1,000 or like 5,000.
Wow.
It was 4 digits, the amount that he was sending. And initially she was like, wait, like, but he insisted. And she's like, my husband's gonna wonder where this man has come from. He said, let me call your husband. So she called her husband there and then. And this man spoke to her husband and said, like, I just, your wife, the conversation I had with your wife just really blessed me. And so I just want to give. I want to give something. Um,
Wow.
and the husband was like, yeah, go on then. He was excited. She was a bit more cautious, but her husband was like, yeah, and I think they put it aside for like a family holiday or something like that. But it's just it's those little kind acts, right? And kindness can influence people a long way. It really can. But Kirubai, let's actually get into this properly. I think the first
Yes,
thing the first thing we're talking about, is about integrity.
that's right.
So how would we define integrity, or how would you define integrity, Kirubai?
Integrity is something that we all need to develop. And from a very, it is something that it might not be just inherent part of our character, but
Mm,
integrity is something that we from a very young age we pick it up from our parents. They role model it for towards us. We pick it up from our school teachers. We pick it up from our Sunday school teachers. We pick it up from church, to being honest. And also the Bible talks about integrity. So
mm.
integrity is a character trait,
Okay.
and integrity is pivotal when you conduct a business, when you have a connection with two people, in a marriage, in a relationship,
Mm,
in a business venture. Integrity is a key ingredient towards influence.
okay, okay. So if we were to look at a dictionary definition of integrity, right?
Okay.
So the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, the
Mhm.
state of being whole and undivided. And if you want to go with AI and the response from AI, integrity at its core means being honest and having strong moral principles, acting consistently with your values and commitments, even when faced with challenges or temptations. And I like that last bit because I think our integrity is evidenced
Mhm.
when we have those temptations, or when certain challenges come our way, and our values, your values are evident, like in the way that you operate. So like as a business person, I think, let me see how the best way to put this. Sometimes we as Christians can be bad at business. We are not very integrous, if that's a word. We're not very integrous
Yeah,
when it comes to
integrate.
business, because sometimes we don't do as we should, and we offer a poor service, which we shouldn't do. Like we shouldn't do. There has to be a level of integrity that you run your business with. And it's not just about being a Christian or not a Christian, but like everyone, like Kirubai said, it's it's a character trait. It's a good character trait. Being able to say I am a person of integrity, and just being able for people to, because integrity will build trust.
Mhm.
So when we're talking about influence, if you're a person of integrity, it's easier for people to trust you because they know you're a person of your word. They know that what you say is what you mean, right? Because I remember sometimes, as parents, sometimes you're telling kids don't do this, don't do that, but you're going and doing it. And it's almost like you're telling your child, don't do as I do, do as I say. But actually, kids learn best by observing. So, not just
Mm.
by hearing, but by observing. So, if mommy or daddy says this is what you need to be doing, but mommy or daddy is not doing it, they're not seeing mommy or daddy doing it, there's no motivation for them to do it. They're more likely to do as mommy and daddy are doing rather than do as mommy and daddy are saying. But
So,
integrity will get you far in any aspect of your life.
yeah. So sorry to cut you, but you know what? As you're talking about what one of the statements or a sentence in the book says, integrity is an inside job.
You like
So
that statement?
yes, I do, because I talk about transformational inside out. You see, so it kind of nurtures your character and nature, and if you are not integral, okay, it's something you can cultivate. Make
Mm,
a conscious effort to be observing this character and nature, and it's very attractive.
mm,
If there are other people who are very seasoned in business, they can sniff you out
Mm.
if you're not honest. So for those who want to succeed, I think it's a key ingredient to be honest.
Mm.
And if you're struggling with something like this, work on it. Don't give up on yourself. Work on
That's
it.
it. Mm.
So, it's there's so many points to of influence, but that was the first um, point that John
That's
Maxwell
right.
speaks about.
Mm.
It's high priority in our daily walk, in our daily interaction, in our daily influencing someone else.
Mm.
And
And I
Elizabeth,
think, sorry,
uh,
Kirubai. I think when it comes to character, character very much flows from the inside out,
yeah,
because what we do is a result of what's inside, right?
yes, that's
Like
right.
the
Reflection.
Bible says, as a man thinketh inside,
Mm.
something is happening
So
inside,
is he.
so is he. So you are a manifestation of what is going on inside. Your
Mm-hmm,
character is a manifestation of what's going on inside. And the
mm-hmm,
sad reality is that when we have a lot of unresolved issues inside,
mm-hmm.
they manifest on the outside in different ways, in different formats.
Yeah, it does seep through into
Mm,
all your other character and nature. So when you're a seasoned business person, as I was saying, your mannerisms, your how you shift your eyes, your gestures, and all can tantamount to the fact that you're honest or you're not honest. That is, we go into a little bit of body language here.
yeah.
And I'm sure as you grow into your business, or as you grow wiser, you will just pick it up. I don't know, Elizabeth. Is it fair to say that, Elizabeth?
What to just pick? I think you have to. It's something you have to be intentional about.
Yeah, that's right.
It's. I think, like, even just the idea of becoming a person of influence, you have to be intentional in becoming a person of influence, because yes, we everyone is influencing in different spheres, but if you want to have the right level of influence, you have to be intentional. It's like when we talk about mentoring, which the book is going to sort of go into, and I think the next thing we're supposed to be discussing sort of veers into
Nurturing, yeah.
mentoring. um and when we sort of talk about that, like, you have to be intentional. So integrity, like, is something you have to be really intentional, especially when you are in situations that don't sit well with you, or don't agree with your values and your principles, or don't agree with who you are. A lot of times, in some different nations, and I know in Uganda it happens a lot. It probably happens to some level here in the UK, it's just covered up. But when we talk about, like, bribery, if you're a person of integrity, should you be accepting bribes? If you are a person of integrity, should you be accepting bribes? And for some people, that's a real question that they have to answer, because, like, that bribe could be the money that you need to put food on your table that night. And it's like, do I give in? Do I not give in? How does my integrity, like, manifest itself in that moment? So our integrity is very much evidenced when we find ourselves in challenging situations. Then we really see, are you a person of integrity? Yes or no? When that money is under the table and they're saying, take it, take it. Are you a person of integrity? Yes or no?
The temptation is great. It's either make or break this
Mm,
offer. So we sometimes can get swayed. But talking about Uganda, it's very prevalent in also Asian countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to get a project, if you want to get you want to get a project, if you want to go further your business, sometimes you need, sometimes
Mm.
they give. But you know what? The power is in your hands, whether you want to give or you want to stand up and say
That's
no.
it. Mm.
Yeah. So the power is within you to be honest and build your reputation in the area of integrity. Because
Mm.
it's all about reputation.
Mm.
So reputation is very important when you're building something. We don't want someone to say, "Oh, I do not like to do business. I do not like to be a friend. I do not want to have anything to do with this person because you know what? I can't trust that person."
Mm.
We don't want to be in that compromising situation.
That's it. We have to mean what we say and
Yeah.
do what we mean.
And don't be fork-tongued.
No,
No, they,
it's an interesting conversation, especially when it comes to like those decisions. Will you
Mhm.
or won't you? I remember when I was working in the bank, one of the key things or key values when you're working in the bank is integrity. Because you have to be a person of integrity. And I remember one time somebody was telling me a story, and now I'm going to go back to Uganda, right? Someone was telling me a story about how, like, if you're working in the bank in Uganda, one of the ways that you take home a lot more than just your income is by serving the right customers. So serving customers who come in with huge amounts of money, needing help with their transactions, they will leave you a tip. And I remember thinking to myself, wait, in the UK, we're not supposed to do like working in the financial sector. That's one of the things in your
yeah.
training. Like
No,
they
no, yeah,
they kind of ingrain it in you. But
that's right.
yet, looking at a different culture or a different environment, people are like, the best part about working as on the cashier desk is you get the tips. But
Yeah.
is that integrity? Or is it just what people do, so it's the norm?
Well, I can safely answer that question. You know what? It's very cultural. Back home, I worked in a bank and I was the chief cashier. We're talking about sitting in the cash room and managing cash. And as one would say, as we celebrate one of the festivals, there's Chinese New Year, and before Chinese New Year, and my bank was situated in a industrial estate. So all around us were factories. So we used to do payrolls for them.
Mm,
So eventually, inevitably, because everybody is rushing to pay their staff, so we kind of do a lot of backroom work to prepare salary and stuff like that. And they come and give you a tip
mm,
because they want the work to be quick. But with the Chinese culture, they also give gift packs, the red
mhm.
gift packs called ang pao. So everybody gets it.
Okay, if everybody's getting it, right?
Yeah. But of course, people like, I'm a chief cashier, so there would be a special amount inside. So the cashiers will get less. I would probably get more. And you won't believe it. During that period of time, my gift collections could easily go to 500 pounds. And everyone gets different amounts. And it was like something that you couldn't stop because if you reject it, it is an insult to them.
Mm,
That's culturally. So Wasn't I honest? I was honest. They give food, they send hampers back into your homes. So they were
Wow.
very, very, the Chinese are very, very generous. No, I'm not being, racist here, but, they were very generous. So let's move on.
But you know what, Kirubai, as you were speaking, I was reminded of lockdown, right? And how we saw a lack of integrity from our leaders here in the UK when
Yes,
they're telling us don't do this, but they're getting caught out doing this. So the
parties.
very thing they were telling us not to do, they were having parties and mixing together.
Yeah,
So that's a clear example of a lack of integrity. And you can see, no, people didn't want to vote them back into power. People were tired. People were insulted
yeah.
by the
So they
lack of
lost.
integrity. They
They
lost
lost the
trust.
elections. They lost the elections.
So there was no more trust.
Yeah, no more
So,
trust. Yeah,
so like a lack of integrity will mean that people, it will question your credibility. People
yeah.
won't trust you.
And it's a bridge of, yeah, a bridge of trust.
Mm,
The connection is broken. Yeah, we see it in our government, and it's sad. But you know what? As individuals, we can keep check and balances of our integrity.
mm, mm.
Yeah,
And that's where it starts, isn't it? As an
yeah,
individual,
yeah,
doing what you need to do to work on your integrity, being intentional with working on your integrity.
yeah. So let's move on to the second point.
Mhm.
A person of influence nurtures other people. So the gift of nurturing, inevitably, we are nurturing someone.
Mm,
And nurturing is beautiful because it is a point of transference. And the dictionary says what does what is the real meaning of nurturing is to take care, to give, to
mm.
share. And I think we are all nurturers deep down inside. Huh? To be the good nurturer or a bad nurturer. What do you say, Elizabeth? I think we have that um, inherent position in our hearts to be nurturing someone.
We have it. I want to say women more so than men.
Mhm.
I think, and this relates back to the idea, the fact that women carry the baby, and they are kind of like natural born naturals, if that makes sense.
Mhm. That's true.
But I think we again, going back to being intentional, we can all be intentional in nurturing others, and this goes to whether you are like you lead a team at work, whether it's that you are maybe like a youth leader in your community, whether it's that you are a parent. There's always people around us whom we can nurture. There's always people that we can take under our wings, so to speak, and mentor them, show them the way, help them to be their best. There's people that you can add value to, because that's what nurturing will do. It will add value to you. And you know what? It's as I say that nurturing will add value to you, I'm also reminded of people who groom innocent victims.
Mm,
That's nurturing. When they're grooming them, they're nurturing them. But it's in a negative light.
mm,
It's in a negative light.
mm,
When young men join gangs, or when you hear when you read about these things and you watch documentaries around them, someone approaches them and offers something, and sometimes it's like, let me take you under my wings, and before you know it, there's negative influence because they've taken them under their wings, and they're showing them the wrong way to go about life.
mm.
So I think as we then talk about this, I want to put a question out to anyone watching and just say, who is in your world today, in your community, that you can nurture and positively impact them? Who around you can you start adding value to intentionally? And that might mean sometimes like spending time with them, maybe going for a coffee with them, maybe sitting down and reading the Bible with them, maybe taking them to an event of something that they're interested in. Who in your community can you intentionally nurture?
And and the books talks about a key ingredient that you need to nurture someone, and it talks about love. You need to have love
Mm,
to take someone under their wings.
mm,
And when I was just going through, flipping through the book, and they talked about love. How much of love do we show in our office, in our team,
mm,
for our team, or even um, as line leaders, we sometimes we are very harsh because they look up to you, but
mm,
we can be so harsh with even our criticisms become loveless. We're so harsh with our comments, our criticisms. So love plays a very important part in nurturing someone.
mm,
It
mm.
cannot be matter of fact. You have to tell the truth in love.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Just speaking about love and nurturing, our actions and our words can make a difference. Our words can tear down or our words can build. So even with our words, we can nurture somebody. We can be an encourager. And in that moment of encouraging, you're stepping in to sort of just help them to grow, help them to see value. What we do and what we say can make a huge difference. And if we are going to be people of influence, what we do and what we say, we need to be intentional with that. We need to be intentional with that. And it's not about saying what people want to
To
hear.
hear. Mm.
Like Kirubai said about speaking the truth in love. So, how can we, yeah, show love, whether it's at home, whether it's when we're out and about, whether it's, you know, in the workplace? How can you show love? How can you nurture somebody? And it's seeing value in that person. When I choose to love you, because love is a choice. It's a
Mm.
choice. When I choose to love you, I'm choosing to see value in you. I'm choosing to see value in our relationship. And because I see value, I want to add value. When you start to see value, you will want to add value. When you see, I say this with the ladies in the Show Up and Shine community. When you see value in the people who are connected to you on social media, you will have more of a drive and more of a motivation to add value to them. You have to see value in yourself. You have to see value in the people that you are showing up for. And you have to see value in what you are bringing to the table or what you are bringing into the room.
So part of adding value to someone is also adding self-worth. And when you nurture someone, you give them a sense of belonging.
Mm.
They feel good. You can pick up someone from the street and add value to them. You give them a different perspective of life because of perspective through your eyes and perspective through their eyes. So there is a place where different perspectives can be shared. And by being that nurturer, you are actually giving someone hope.
Mm.
And a lot of people these days have lost hope.
Very true.
Mm. And some of the things Elizabeth does in the community, and she's giving hope because she is nurturing through coaching.
Mm.
And I do some work in the community, but my work as a coach, I work with individuals and I give hope to them. There is hope at the end of the tunnel because some people are so desperate. There is despair in their lives. So
Mm.
being a nurturer, you give hope through your influence, through your words of kindness, through your words of encouragement. So you give hope and make the people feel significant.
Mm.
So they have value as significant as they can, adapt to the significance of who they are. When you talk about someone who wants to commit suicide,
Mm.
they've lost all hope and they want to, because there's a lack in their lives, lack of love, lack of self-worth. So you give them significance. You make them feel significant that
Mm.
they they dismiss the thought of having to commit suicide. So can you imagine you because of your influence that you can stop someone from dying?
That's true.
Very powerful. Very, very powerful.
Mm.
So don't stop. Don't be selfish. Reach out to someone today and encourage someone. Pick up that phone, that mobile, and call someone because that call can be positive influence on someone else who needs to hear your voice.
That's it. That's it. And sometimes it might even be that you are just sort of just checking in on them, because that's part of nurturing. Part of nurturing is just reaching out, like, hi, I'm here if you need me. Just checking in to see that you're okay. Um, and it can make such a difference. I like what you said about the significance, because when you choose to nurture somebody, or when you add value to somebody, you help them to see their significance, you help them to see their value. And that can be a make or break for some people.
That's right.
And I think, like, when I think about like nurturing, one of the things I'm reminded of is, in a church setting, discipleship, like being able to walk with people in the journey of their faith. Hi Ete, thank you for joining us. Being able to walk with people in their journey, wherever they are in their journey, being able to stand alongside them and say, you don't have to go through it on your own. I'm here. I can walk through it with you. That makes a difference, because some people are afraid and terrified with the things that they're going through. For some people, life is overwhelming. New opportunities, new experiences, new jobs can seem overwhelming. Coming into the Christian faith can seem overwhelming. But having someone to stand alongside you can make a difference. Having someone that takes you under their wings can make a difference. And I honestly want to challenge us as we are listening to this. Think about people whom you can nurture in your life. Don't commit if you can't be intentional about it, because it doesn't help if you're present today and absent tomorrow. Commit and be consistent in the way that you pour into them, in the way that you nurture them.
You can't fake it to make it. It has to be genuine.
Mm,
You can't fake it to make it. But you can cultivate the the aspect of being a nurturer. You can cultivate it, a process that, it can be an inside job. And if you truly want to nurture someone, there's some of the aspects that, you have to consider. That you have to be, like what Elizabeth says, commit.
mm,
Commitment is paramount. You have to commit, you have to believe in them.
that's it.
You have to believe, commit, and be accessible.
Mm,
Not today you are here and tomorrow you're gone. Accessibility is very important.
that's
And
it.
your motive is very important. Why are you nurturing someone? And that brings us to the next point. You nurture someone with no strings attached.
Mm,
And opening the doors of opportunity to them, because you might be the destiny helper for someone else, for the person you are nurturing.
mm,
So don't hold back, but give off yourself openly.
mm.
Lift them to a level that is higher, because they might supersede and do far better than you are doing. So you have to clap and encourage, because sometimes you want to nurture people. Some nurturers or mentors, they want to pull you down when they see you are,
You're
when they
rising
see,
too high.
yeah, and that is a very bad attitude.
Mm,
So what shall I say, you need to be encouraging them, clapping for their successes, and if they fall, pick them up and lift them to higher grounds.
mm,
Lift them to higher grounds. Yeah. So it is a job, but you know what? It's a very, very satisfying job to see someone else running the race. And you are also learning. As a nurturer, you are learning.
mm,
It's people connections. You're learning along the way. And that's why coaches and mentors, they when they do something in this area, it is very satisfying. I mean, I feel very satisfied.
mm.
I'm sure, Elizabeth, you do too, right?
I do, honestly.
Yeah, and we saw the fruits of it when we went to Leicester the other day, and Funke launched her business, launched her her portfolio, and it gave Elizabeth a lot of happiness, and I just tagged along and I cheered her on.
No, do you know what?
So
I think sometimes we don't want to nurture because it's going to cost us our time,
yeah, cost something, yeah.
and we say time is precious.
Hmm.
But like you said, Kirubai, it is very rewarding and it can make a difference for somebody else. It can be the game changer for them. And it's not a case of what's in it for me. And I think the more we're having this conversation, the more I'm just seeing leadership, leadership, leadership. And for anyone who is in a position of leadership, yes, we all lead in our own right and we lead ourselves, but for anyone who's in a position of leadership, integrity is going to be so important. Nurturing the people who are following you is so key. Being able to help them to know that you are a valued member of this. You are a valued. I remember one time TD Jakes was preaching at his pastors and leaders conference, and one of the things he said is, if you are if you have a vision for your church, and that vision does not include certain people in the church, then don't expect them to stay, because people will stay where there is a vision for them. And when you take time to nurture people, you show them that you are an important part to this puzzle. You are important in completing the picture here. So if you are, a leader, whether it's in an organization, whether it's in church, in a business, I really want to encourage you that take your people under your wings, nurture them, help them to rise. And yes, every leader should want the people that they're nurturing to rise beyond them. Because just like a parent, you want your children to exceed where you finished. You want them to go further. So when we are nurturing people, that should be the case. We should want them to go further. We should be happy when they're rising. That doesn't mean that there won't be days where we have some difficult conversations sometimes. That's part of nurturing. When you're nurturing your child, there are days where you tell them, this you don't do. This is not right. And there are days where
Corrections. Yeah.
you encourage particular behavior, because that is good behavior. And the behavior that is not good, you discourage it. Let's not do that again. But what you did today, well done. Nurturing is also about, like, it's seeing the best in people and giving them, Kirubai, like you said, about opportunities, creating opportunities for them to shine. Don't compare yourself to them and think they're better than you in this area, and so you don't want to give them an opportunity. No, give them an opportunity to shine. Don't worry, your time to shine is there. But creating opportunities for other people to shine goes a long way, especially if, like, you have had these people and you've nurtured them. Giving them a platform to shine, or just creating an opportunity and an avenue for them to shine, helps them to realize their significance, helps them to see the value in themselves. Kiruba, you mentioned Funke's event. Now, if I had said to Funke, sorry, I'm not coming to your event, like, that's not good nurturing. But making time to be there from the start to the finish, helping out where I could, encouraging her where I could. That's part of nurturing. That's part of nurturing. Like we said before, your words and your actions. Your words and your actions. Your words and your actions can show whether you're nurturing or not nurturing.
Tearing it down, tearing down.
So as you're listening to this, take an introspective look.
Mhm.
The people that I'm nurturing, could I be better at nurturing them? What can I do to become a better nurturer? What does that look like? And I like where the Bible says, do unto others what you'd have them do unto you. And I find that can be very challenging. Don't do unto others what they deserve. Do unto others what you would like them to do unto you. So if you're somebody who's like, I wish somebody would nurture me, I wish somebody would take me under their wings, I'm challenging you to go out and nurture somebody. And in the process of you nurturing somebody, don't worry, somebody will take you under their wings, because you're sowing a seed. When you're nurturing, you're sowing a seed. You're sowing seeds that can germinate. You're sowing seeds that you will later look back on and see a harvest if you do the nurturing well. So if we are going to become people of influence, integrity, without a shadow of doubt, is important. But
Compromise. Yeah.
nurturing is like you're passing something down. You're passing something on.
Legacy. Yeah.
Kirubai, any final words?
No, I think I have shared what's in my heart today about nurturing and integrity. And we'll come on again next week to speak about two other points of influence, how to become a person of influence
Hmm.
that will build confidence for you and the person receiving that influence.
Hmm. I think for me, just as we round up, one of the important factors to bear in mind is be an example. Be an example. How do you become a person of influence? Be an example. Model what integrity looks like. Model what nurturing looks like. Be an example. Let people see your life and they can see the evidence of this. Be an example. Be an example. The better of an example you are, the greater your influence is going to be. So model these things and let's be intentional. Be intentional. You become a person of influence when you are intentional with your integrity, with your nurturing. Be intentional. It goes without saying. It's not going to just happen. It's not going to just happen. So be intentional. So we will be back again next week. Just like Kirubai said, next week will be our episode 92. So we look forward to you joining us. But just challenge yourself as you go through the rest of the week. Take time to reflect. Can you be a better nurturer? Who do you need to nurture? Are you a person of integrity? If not, how can you be a better person of integrity? It's worth reflecting on. And if you know somebody else who needs to listen to this episode,
Set.
send them the link. Share this with them. Minister Follow, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And if you are watching this on the replay, please comment. Let's know where you are watching from. Get involved in the conversation. If you missed Put Your Dream to the Test, the episodes are available on LinkedIn or on YouTube. Either my page or Kirubai's page, you can catch up on there. But let's take this journey together. It's a journey of growth. It's a journey of becoming better versions of ourselves. So in the next, 5 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
We
We've
should
got 4 more weeks to go.
we should be better.
Yeah.
We should be better because we are learning how to become people of influence. So God bless you. And thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you do want either some coaching in this area, or if you even want us to come into your organization and deliver a talk based on what we are talking about, So whether it's how to become a person of influence, put your dream to the test, please feel free to reach out to us. We are both certified with the Maxwell leadership team. And in fact, to all those attending IMC, congratulations to those getting
Well done.
certified um,
Enjoy.
yesterday and today. So congratulations to you all. Enjoy the conference. But yes, feel free to reach out if you do require any coaching, or if you do need someone to speak at any one of the events that you might be holding or organizing, whether it's for your organization, for your church, or the community that you are leading. We would be more than happy to come in and deliver a session for you with some practical takeaways so that you can become better in your influence and you can be more intentional in the way that you are influencing the people around you. So do reach out.
Become to become better, not bitter, Elizabeth.
Exactly, become better. Right.
Perfect.
Well, God bless you and thank you for joining us once again.